Okay, this is the product we're going to do today. I wanted to do a bigger version of a smaller one that I did that was similar to this, and this one is an 8 by 10. And these are the stamps that were used. I use this stamp, which is from the Stampscapes Nature Set 8. This stamp, which is Stampscapes 343I, the Bayou Shack. This stamp, which is from the Stampscapes Nature Set 14. This set, which is from the Stampscapes Nature Set 7. This one, which is Stampscapes 323C, Rocks and Grass Large. This one, which is from the Nature Set 13. This one, which is from the Nature Set 4. And then from Art Impressions, these two little flower sets. This one is from the Flower Set 2, and this one is from the Mini Flower Set. And then the two Art Impressions grasses, which are from the Foliage Set. And these were the markers and inks that were used in this particular video. So if you'd like to pause and take a look at this, you can. Otherwise, let's begin. Okay, I'm going to do this piece on Hammer Mill Color Laser Gloss paper. And I'm going to do a larger version of this one that I did previously. So this one is going to be an 8 by 10. Okay, I'm going to use my full-size Tim Holtz stamping platform for this. And the first thing I'll stamp is the shack. And so I'll put it about like this. I did a test stamping just to kind of get a layout of how I want everything to look. And so I'm going to use that as my pattern of where I'm going to put everything. And then I'm going to make sure that the shack is straight on here by following the grid lines. Get my ruler out and just kind of double check to make sure that the lines are straight. They look pretty straight. Okay, and I'm going to use Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Is the bridge, and this is the bridge that's in snow, and so I'm gonna try and fix up everything so it doesn't look quite so much like it's in snow. And so let me put this down approximately where I want it. I want this piece right here to line up about right like that. And I have a feeling I'm going to have to turn this around so that the stamp will be within the platform. So I will just turn my paper around. And what I'm going to do now, I want to check the position of this. And so I'm going to just stamp it on the plastic. And I'm going to need to hold it down. But I just want to check the placement of the stamp. And because I want this to line up so this paper is going to have to come up just a smidge, about like that maybe. And okay, I'm going to wipe this off, at least on that edge, because I want to check it out again. And so let me check how my placement is. And that looks pretty good. So I don't want to move my paper. Okay, I've made a mask for the bridge, and so I'm just going to mask that off. And I also want to clean off my piece of plastic and make sure my stamp is cleaned off. And I'm going to want to ink up just this portion here of the stamp. And so I'm going to first line it up along the edge here. And I'm going to use my memento marker and just ink up the taller trees here. Move my mask. Make sure that I don't have any of the... I put some scrapbook adhesive temporary on the back of this, so I want to make sure I don't have any on here. Okay, and we'll move this up to the 1-inch mark. And I will, actually, let's move it over to the 3-inch mark. So I'm moving the edge to 3 inches right here. And then I want to line this up so that it's right here. And so I'm going to line this up as good as I can. And then I'm going to check it with this. So let's put this at 3 inches right here. And let's fill in these, and we'll see how that looks. Okay, and that's about right. I want it, that's about perfect, because I want this to end right at the end of the pier. As you can see here, this shoreline is ending right at the end of the pier, which is where I want it to be. So I can okay, now I'm going to want to make a reflection of these trees in the water here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to ink up just the trees, these 3 trees. Get this out of the way, and let's see, I will put this in real well, and let's move this out. We'll move this out. I'm going going to stamp it onto the plastic. I want to get a little more ink. So I'm going to ink it up one more time and stamp it onto the plastic. Now what I'm going to do is bring this in here and just kind of lay this down and just press it. Maybe even get out my little brayer. And there we have our reflection in the water. And I'll put a piece of scrap paper underneath. Okay, now I want to build up where the road goes. So the road is going to come about like this, and then like this. So I'm going to get my grass filler stamp, the one with the rocks in it. And the first thing I'm going to do is I will stamp over this so it doesn't look so snowy. Okay, I'm going to stamp this big tree over in this corner. And next I'll put the pine trees over on the other side. So I'm just going to ink up the bottom part of the pine trees. Okay, so this is all the major stamping, and so I'm going to give this a few minutes now to dry, and we'll be back in a bit. Okay, now I'm going to work on the sky and the water. I'm going to use my Stampin' Up! Ink. I'm going to use Pool Party. I don't know how well you can see there, but this is Pool Party, Marina Mist, and Island Indigo. Okay, now for the ground, I'm going to use Stampin' Up! Sahara Sand, Crumb Cake, and Soft Suede. Okay, now I'm going to use my color box stylus. I'm just going to use my darkest brown and just try and put some definition into the road. I'm going to use the edge of it and just kind of make ruts. Let's see if I can brush some of this out. And I'm going to squirt it with my squirt bottle, water. And then what I'll do is just rub it along the road here. Okay, I'm going to color the trees with my Bianyo markers. These are alcohol-based markers. I'm going to use number 48, number 33, 23, and 11. Okay, and on the inside of here, I will just put in. Okay, now I'm going to use some garden green Stampin' Up! And I will use one of these Dollar Tree stencil brushes for this. Okay, now I'm going to use my Art Impression Big Grass stamp with my Stampin' Up! Garden Green. At this point, I'm going to switch over to the small grass. Okay, I'm going to use alcohol marker 104 and 103 to color the rocks. Okay, I'm going to put some of these grasses back in with my garden green. Okay, let's see. Some of this, I think I need to take my colorless blender and just kind of lighten this up a bit. And I'm going to give that a chance to dry a little bit. Let's see, I think in the window over here, I'm just going to put some of this yellow. Okay. Okay, I'm going to take some of this 103 and 104, and I'm going to kind of define over here. Okay, and I'm going to take my chisel tip of the 104, and I'm just going to kind of drag this down. I'm going to take the chisel tip of my colorless blender and just kind of drag it. This is going to turn out, but okay, and then we'll just kind of put little streaks in here. I'll take my colorless blender again. Let's see, maybe I take a little alcohol into this and try brushing along this way. Okay, and we'll let that dry for a bit. Okay, I'm going to take number 33 and I'm going to touch up this tree again. I will do the trunk of this tree. Okay, I am going to take my Marvy Le Plume, number 55, and I am going to just color the tops of the flowers. And I will stamp some of these flowers in here randomly. Okay, I'm going to use 103 and 104 for the shack. Okay, for the roof I'm going to use BG3 and BG5. And in fact, I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to actually use my Memento marker. Also use the number 33 to fill in these little windows here. I'm going to use my alcohol marker number 65, and I want to color in the water a little bit. Okay, and then I'm also going to use my white gel pen. Okay, I'm going to take some of my 48 and just draw some grass. Okay, and let's get my marker. Let's darken these a little bit. Let's get my marker out and let's just highlight the top of these rocks. Okay, I'm going to do the bridge in WG 05 and 94. And how I'm going to do this is I'll take the darker and I will touch my lighter color to the tip of the darker and brush it on that way. Okay, let's see. Now I'm going to take my BG3 and I will blend this roof again. And I will also color in the trim over here. Okay. Okay, let's see a little bit. Just kind of wipe that off to mute it down a bit. And also take a little bit of this BG3 for the shadow inside here. And also for under here. Okay. Okay. And let's see, let me get my BG48 and kind of fill in the white areas over here. Okay, next I'm going to do the windows of the shack with some distress marker. I'm going to use scattered straw and carved pumpkin. My 103, and I'm going to outline the door one more time. Okay, and I will take BG5 and draw right along the edge here. Okay, and okay, and I guess the last step is I'll take my black Marvy marker and sign and date it. Let it dry for a little bit, spray it, and I'll frame it, and then we'll come back and show you the final product. Okay, I forgot that I wanted to put some birds up in the sky. Even though I've already sprayed it with the acrylic coating, I'm going to use a black alcohol marker and just draw some birds. Just some random birds, like that. Okay, and here's the finished product. Unfortunately, I bent the paper a little bit when I was trying to put it on the mat, and it kind of got stuck, and when I removed it, it kind of wrinkled up the paper a bit. But this is in the frame, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Goodbye.